I don't know if that's like controversial. How do you feel post Trevor being in the military? What has helped me in my marriage with so much change in my life? Knock on wood. How have you felt after getting off birth control? This is a hot take. What's up, you guys? My name is Ivy. If you're new, if you're not, welcome back to the channel. We have not done one of these in so long, and I'm very excited because I feel like we need to catch up. So much has changed since the last time we did a girl chat video, and I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I've been busy. A lot has changed in my life since the last time we did one of these. I think literally the last time we did one of these was when I still lived in Fort Hood, and that feels like a different life ago. Like, that feels like a different person. So I figured we would do one of these together. I got some questions from you guys and just from some statements from you guys, or things you wanted to know about. So I figured we would do it together. I'm excited but also a little nervous because I feel like I have not talked about a lot of these things in a while. I know we have a lot of new faces on here and a lot of ones that have been with me from the start since I started vlogging in Hawaii. If you're new, my name's Ivy. I vlog my life, and I also have vlogged my life since I lived in Hawaii with my husband. My husband was in the military. He was in the army, and he separated from the military about 1.5 years ago. So it has been a lot of change very quickly. So I would love to talk about this because I know I still have a lot of military girlies. Their significant others are in the military, so I would love to answer all the questions that I got. The first one is actually, how old am I? I just turned 27 in November, so I'm 27. I think I started this journey when I was 22 or 23. Maybe I was 22. I think I was 22. I've been vlogging for a very long time, sharing my life on here with you guys. How do you feel post Trevor being in the military? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was a very weird adjustment just because me and Trevor only knew adult life in the military. Like, when he got into the military, he had just turned 21. So he was 21 when he was at basic. So me and him only knew like military life together. We only knew our marriage inside of the military and how it worked military lifestyle wise. So him getting out of the military was a very, very, very big adjustment for us. And I'm pretty sure if any of you guys' husbands were in the military, or your spouses or anything like that, then you know the day that they got out or separated from the military was very scary for them. Trevor has talked about this to me a lot, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have a problem with me sharing this. He was very scared getting out of the military. Even though he was very ready to get out of the military and to separate, he was scared because a lot of soldiers, they don't know what their life is going to look like outside of the military, or how they're going to react to it, or react to being like free or in normal life. So that was a really big adjustment for Trevor, but now he's been thriving and he's happy, and we have a house. So like, I feel like a lot has changed in that time, and we slowly have gotten to learn like each other and our lives outside of the military lifestyle. So that was, like I said, a big adjustment, but we're very, very grateful and happy for the transition that we had, even though sometimes it felt scary and sometimes it felt rocky. How have you felt after getting off birth control? This is a hot take. Okay, so I got off birth control, I think like 2 months after we bought our house, so probably in like September-ish time I got off my birth control. I decided I wanted to do this for a couple reasons. One, I had been on birth control since I was 20, so that was a long time to be on the pill. That was my preferred birth control. I took it at the same time every single day. I was very diligent about that. Actually, people would make fun of me because my alarm would go off in the middle of the day and they would be like, oh, your birth control time. But it was just like, I was very like diligent about taking my birth control when I was supposed to take it. I didn't see a whole lot of, actually yes I did. I was gonna say I didn't see a whole lot of side effects being on birth control, but I think I did. I think it did make me anxious and it did cause some depression. So yeah, those are two things that I definitely saw. I think my hormones have definitely evened out now. I feel like I handle situations a lot more calm. Before I would like freak out really quickly, and like my brain would jump to like the worst conclusion. And now I feel like I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like, even though I will get a little anxious still, like I think I'm just an anxious person in general, it has gotten a little bit better. So very grateful and happy about that. And honestly, I'm gonna say I have experienced a decrease in like hunger. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if that's just a me thing and how I'm going about life right now, but I feel like I have felt a decrease in hunger. So like I'm not as hungry for as much food as I would eat when I was on birth control. Like I said, don't know if that's like a normal thing or that's just in my head, or if I think that's just birth control, but I think I have seen a little bit of a difference in that. Just keep you guys updated, but I do feel like I'm a little less like depressed. I don't know how to describe that other than like I'm a little less blue. Like I wake up in a little bit of a better mood. That's that on birth control. If you guys have more questions for me on birth control and want me to kind of go like in deeper about it, let me know. But I was on birth control for a really long time, so I really wanted to get off and like regulate my hormones and see how my body felt as an adult not being on birth control. Has your cycle changed getting off birth control? Yes, it has. I have noticed when I was on birth control, my cycle, and that was the whole reason I actually got on birth control. Well, two reasons. Obviously, I didn't want to get pregnant, and two, I wanted to regulate my period because I was very irregular, especially in my teen years, and like my upper half of my adult years, I noticed, or my lower half of my adult years, I noticed that I was getting, when I was younger, I was getting 7-day periods, heavy flow every single day. And on birth control, one day I had a light day, the second day it was pretty heavy, not like unbearably heavy, and then the third day it was kind of like non-existent, so I had like a 3-day period. And then now that I've gotten off of it, I haven't been off of my birth control very long, but normally my periods are like, I want to say like 5 days. They're not as heavy from what I've experienced. I think I have 2 like heavy days, but they're not, one day is like really heavy, one day is like less heavy, and then the rest are just like spotting, or not spotting, but like very light days. So it hasn't been that bad. I have been experiencing cramping a little bit more, but other than that, nothing horrible, you know. Someone said, I'm going through a rough year of marriage and need tips on how to help us through this season of marriage. Okay, let me think. Let me put my brain into it. I would say the biggest thing that I can give you guys on marriage is like communication is everything. And not just communication, because I heard this TikTok and I really resonated with it. It's not about communication, it's about understanding. You can communicate all you want to that person, but if they're not understanding you, that's a whole other situation. You know what I'm saying? That is like, okay, we need to get to the root. Like, I need you to hear me. Like, just how when you speak, you want me to receive things well, I need you to hear me when I speak. So I think that's really important. Communication is everything. Also understanding. I think explaining to your partner that like you guys are on the same team. Me and Trevor always say this to each other, that it's not me and you against each other, it's me and you against the problem. So that's helped us a lot, like put it into perspective. Like I'll be like, okay, explain to me how you're feeling about this, I'll explain to you how I'm feeling about this, and then we'll compare. Because maybe I'm saying something and I'm not meaning it that way, or you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. A lot of anger and fighting and all of that stuff, a lot of that for me comes from misinterpretation. So me and Trevor have gotten really good, honestly, within the first like 2-3 years of our marriage, at communicating well. And now we're almost at our 7th year of marriage. Our communication is like very fast. We're very like, Trevor always tells me this. He's like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you all day about something that can get solved in a 15-minute conversation. Like, I'm not gonna ruin both of our days with a miscommunication or an argument when I don't want to spend the whole day angry. And I feel like that is something that's helped me and him a lot. We're both problem solvers, so when we first got married, he always wanted to solve the problem right away, and I always needed time to like process my feelings. And I'm still kind of like that. I still kind of need some time to really sit with my feelings and process them. But for the most part, I'm pretty good about like differentiating all of that stuff. But I would just say communicate, let your partner know, like, I want to fix this. Like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I want this to be me and you against the problem. So I feel like that has helped me the most, so maybe it'll help you. Also, like, spend time together, because I feel like sometimes, especially like last year with me and Trevor, the issue that we were coming up with is we were not spending enough time together, and that's where like some arguments would happen, is because we were not taking intentional time with each other, and that was again our fault. But take time with each other, do things that you both like, or try something new. Like, that's literally what I would say. Like, when you feel a disconnect with your spouse, there has to be something. Like, maybe you guys can try a new hobby together, like go on walks at the end of the day, like right before bed. Me and Trevor actually started implementing this a couple months ago. We started going on nightly walks. So like right before, like probably around right after we eat dinner, we'll go on a walk together and kind of update each other on our days, or like if we saw something funny, or like a funny movie, a funny TikTok. Having that time really like decompresses, and it moves your body at the same time, so you're really like working together to do something together. Or even if you feel like you're having a really big disconnect, I have these note cards. I've talked about these for years, but Trevor bought them for me as a gift for Valentine's Day one year, and we still use those cards. I think it's called the relationship deck. I have them linked in my Amazon. You don't have to buy them from there. If you just want to go on Amazon and look up the relationship deck, they're amazing. And it's like a little card deck, gives you different questions. So kind of if you're kind of in a rut with your spouse, just talking about something different can always help. So I always suggest that. Or even if your spouse is like on deployment or away a lot, all of that helps. What has helped me in my marriage with so much change in my life? Okay, I wrote down a couple things for this. We've had a lot of change within the last year and a half, and a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of this, like literally this. I feel like life was like this for a good little minute, but now I'm finally feeling stable. We're feeling stable, feet on the ground, feeling a little bit better. I did write down some of the stuff though. I said heavy communication, talked about that, especially about feelings. Like if you're feeling some type of way, or you feel like they said something in the wrong tone. Sometimes, like I always say, and I've talked about this with all of my family members, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's the delivery of what you're saying. So you can say something, if you say it kindly, a person will take that so much better than obviously in a blunt manner. So like, it's not like, oh my God, like instead of, oh my God, like, oh my God, like, you know what I'm saying? Just change the way you say things. Instead of like, if you're annoyed and you're like, oh my God, just be like, oh my God. Like, just different. It's different. It's a different tone. It's gonna be received differently. So say journaling, like journaling out your feelings. I don't personally do this, but I've heard that it helps a lot of people like get their feelings out. Or even if your spouse is not a person who talks a lot or likes to talk about their feelings with you, or has problems like expressing their feelings, maybe try journaling or having them journal so that they can kind of get those emotions out. Even like with my students, I work at a high school, so whenever they're feeling some type of way, I'll tell them type it up in their notes app and then kind of like get it out, which always helps. I put having a check-in every 2 weeks. So me and Trevor, we implemented this at a very early age. Like I think we were probably 21, 22 when we did this. We would do a check-in, like whenever we remembered mainly, but like every 2 weeks I feel like is good. Like just check in and be like, hey, are we good? Like, have you been feeling any type of way recently? Do we need to work on anything? Do you feel like there's anything that we need to discuss? Is there something that's been bothering you? Weekly check-in or like 2 week check-ins always helps. Like me and Trevor just had a check-in, I think like last week, and everything was solid. Like even if it's just like finance stuff, like, oh, we need to do a check-in, like, hey, how are we doing on this? Like, do we need to allot money for this stuff or whatever? The check-ins honestly come in clutch. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, they come in clutch. Doing things together, I talked about that, going on walks, exploring new places. Yeah, trying new places, trying new things, new places to eat, just like going to explore the places around you, honestly. Even going like on a date night at night and going like on a Walmart run and just having fun and being silly, like helps. Like all of that like good energy helps in the long run. Date nights, lots of date nights in or outside of the house. It doesn't have to be outside of the house, especially if like you're like budgeting and stuff. You can do both. And there's like a million different like ideas for in date nights. Like movie date night, you can do a painting date night, you can do a vision board date night, like all of this stuff. And I feel like vision boards help a lot. Me and Trevor did vision boards for our year. I love doing vision boards. I even kind of like updating my vision board every couple months. Little things like that go the longest way because you really feel connected to your spouse. Doing projects at home, that has honestly, that's been me and Trevor's love language within the last year. Like doing projects at home. The canvas project that we did, I don't know if you guys saw that. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably did, or on TikTok. So we do lots of projects for our house because obviously now we are homeowners. Now we're gonna move on to the next question. It says, how has the adjustment living in a new house? It has been interesting learning home things. Thank God for our parents and all of the advice that we've gotten. My parents have helped me so much. Like whenever I have a question or I don't know what something is, or I just need general help, like guidance, I always go to my parents because they're always like my sounding board. It's been interesting to say the least. And summer's coming around, so we have lots of updates that we're doing to the house within the next couple months, so I'm very excited for those. What are the first couple of renovations you want to do? So first couple renovations, we actually have a couple like updates to the house that we're doing. We're getting new AC most likely because I mean our house was built in the early 2000s. With the summer gets so hot here, we definitely want to do the flooring. We definitely want to do the flooring because it's two-tone right now. I don't know what happened, why they decided to do that, but there's different flooring in I think in the bedrooms than there is in the living room. So we want to update the flooring, but there's a couple things that we want to do before that we have to kind of contract out. The shower, but it's going to take a while. You guys have probably seen the shower in the background of my videos. I want to do tile, so that's going to be a whole project within itself because we're going to be the ones installing the tile. Thank God my dad has so much knowledge, literally, and he's done so many showers and stuff. My dad actually used to work in construction like a long time ago when he was a kid, and so that's how he learned a lot of like the tricks of the trade. And yeah, we're gonna redo the shower in our master and it's gonna look amazing, and I'm so excited. I'm still looking for inspo for that because I'm very indecisive and I'm not one of those people that can visualize like in my brain how things are gonna look, but very excited about that. Do you have any goals for the year? So I don't really have like New Year's goals or anything like that. I always just like do like little personal goals that are like in my heart. What do I do when I'm having a hard time with my body? I personally, like, this is just what works for me. I have to, when I'm having a hard time with my body, I let myself know like it's okay, but also I ask myself like, why am I feeling that way? Am I feeling that way because I'm eating badly? Am I feeling that way because I'm not working out? Am I feeling that way because I need movement? Am I feeling that way? There's like a million different reasons, and a lot of those are fixable. It's like you can start just with like going on a walk, or I discovered I want a walking pad. I told Trevor that I really want a walking pad for the house so that I can kind of like, especially during the hotter months, it gets too hot outside, but I want a walking pad just for the house. So just find things and forms of things that you enjoy. I really enjoy fashion, so like even putting myself together, getting dressed when I don't feel like it helps me a lot with my body image and my confidence, and just learning like it's okay to be in that season. Okay, this is a really good question. What has helped you stay on top of your finances? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, me and Trevor have been pretty solid with our finances pretty much our whole marriage. We obviously struggled the first half of our marriage, and I think I've talked about that like on a podcast episode. I used to have a podcast, and there's definitely a podcast episode out there somewhere, but obviously we were broke, we were kids, we were young, and now our finances are so good. I highly suggest, like, if you're getting paid, like say Okay, I always compare it like this to my students, because my students are like, well, I got paid $400, how much should I put in my savings? They're like, allot the money like that you need, so like money for bills, money for food, like all of that stuff, and then whatever's left over, say you have $200 left over, put like at least $40 to $60 aside, because then that money starts to add up. Like if you need money for other stuff, obviously, but like that's, I always say like put a little bit of money to the side for emergencies, in case you need something, in case you want something. I always love to have a little bit of money put to the side. So I've learned a lot, especially from my parents. Thank God to my parents. Shout out my parents, because I know my mom watches like all of my videos. My mom and dad taught me so much about money management at a very, very young age. So I've always been very good with money and very like frugal. And I know a lot of people probably make fun of me for that. Because I'm very like, I don't really like to spend money all that often, and I'm just very frugal in general. Like if I know that I don't need something, I'm not gonna buy it. Shout out to my parents, because they've always made me very, very good with money, and like had me maintain a good relationship with money. Never had a bad relationship with money, so that helped a lot. Tips on saving money, I already told you guys, or tell other people to do, is like take money out of your bank account. So when you look at your bank account, you're not seeing that extra money that you're saving. If that's like an issue for you, like if you feel like, well, I have the money in my savings, I always say like take out the money so you don't physically see it. You can just put that money to the side wherever you want to put it, and allot that money for savings, so that if you get tempted or anything like that, then you already have that money to the side. So it's not like, it's kind of like you don't see that money. I don't know if that makes sense. That's probably the best rule of thumb that's had me like, okay, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that, and I've always been pretty just good with separating my money. Tips on dealing with anxiety and depression in marriage. That's gonna be the last one that I talk about. Down a couple things that I thought were important. Open communication. I always try to communicate to Trevor like, hey, I'm just having a down day right now, and it has nothing to do with you, but I love you and I just kind of need my space. He also knows like when I'm down, like sometimes getting me out of the house is the best bet, or if I feel like I need to rest, I'll let him know. Like it's all about communication, especially with your spouse, because I never want to make Trevor feel like, oh, I'm unhappy in our marriage or anything like that. It literally just is this little guy just not working properly. But I try my best to take myself out of those situations, and Trevor's really good about always like supporting me where I need the support. Definitely open communication with your spouse, because I feel like that's really, really important, and having them understand like what's going on up here. So kind of explaining to them like how you're feeling and how it feels in your brain when you're going through something. I feel like that's always best rule of thumb. Alone time sometimes helps. Like I said, sometimes I need alone time, and sometimes I really just need to force myself out of it and get myself out of the house. And I've learned that about myself. Like sometimes I just need to force myself out of the house, and 9 times out of 10 I always come back home feeling better. Activity together and being together has taken me out of a lot of like my overthinking, and yeah, it just personally has helped me a lot. And also, last thing, CBD gummies. Sometimes CBD gummies have helped me so much just to like calm my mind. I don't know if that's like controversial, but CBD has helped me a lot with just calming my mind. And like I don't really use CBD gummies very often, because like I said, honestly, I haven't been feeling super anxious recently. I've been feeling really good about myself, my body, my mindset, so I'm very grateful for that. Like knock on wood, they have helped a little bit. I can't even remember the time I took a CBD gummy, but they have helped, especially when I'm having like uber anxious like a mindset. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want more like girl chat videos, let me know, because I personally love them. That's gonna conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you so much. Thank you for always being my internet family and being here for me. And if you guys have any other questions, or you want me to do another girl chat video, let me know down below. And if you have any other questions or want my advice on anything else, let your girl know. But I love you so much, and I will see you in the next next video.